All right, everyone. Welcome to the On the Line podcast. This is an Australian Open preview special. I'm your host, Noel Alberto, with co host Oliver Dixon Jefford. Oliver, how are you doing today?
I'm very good. I'm very excited that the draws are out.
Very, very good. Yeah, I'm very tired. I'm, adjusting my normal sleep schedule to Australian Open sleep schedule, and it's not the easiest here in the United States when prime time is 3 a.m.
Yeah, prime time for in the UK is around 9 in the morning, which is not that bad if you're up.
Oh yeah,
So
that's like
maybe
yeah, that's
we
like
miss
normal
everything.
wake up time for you
Yeah,
guys, right?
yeah, about. I mean, but the thing is, we miss everything during the day as well because obviously that starts like midnight, 1 o'clock our time.
Oh, that's true.
So like the way I do is I try and watch a bit in the evening to like 2, and I wake up later on and I try to see something going on when I wake up in the morning still.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, 3 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. UK was the draw. So obviously a lot to go for. So how we're gonna do this? We're gonna break it down section by section, the men's and women's draw, and then we're gonna make our picks, which I will be tracking down as our on our handy dandy pick sheet. Except for the Grand Slams, we're gonna go for each quarter instead. So have it spice it up a little bit here for the Australian Open. So there'll be quarterfinalists, semifinalists, finals and winner, sleeper picks, and then early exit. So multiples of each. So we'll start with the men's draw, and obviously we know the top seed is Rafael Nadal, and he was given a pretty good draw for after. Obviously we know he has the knee injury, but pretty good draw. Victor Estrella Burgos first round, Nicholas Yari or Leonardo Meyer in this potentially in the second round. We know he had trouble with Meyer at the U.S. Open. I mean, he did fail to uh, convert a lot of break points, but this is pretty decent draw for him so far, Nadal.
Absolutely. I mean, considering there's obviously not 100% sure yet on his fitness. I mean, he did play tiebreak tens yesterday, but that's not the best example.
No,
I think
he
he's
it was 10-1 versus Plee, but then he lost
mm,
at Kuyang versus Gasquet. But he said
mm,
the knee is fine, so
mm.
really we still don't know yet though.
Yeah, but it's a kind of draw that settles it well. You can't see Estrella Burgos troubling him. I know obviously he had difficulty against Meyer of the US Open, but you can't really see Meyer winning that match. You know, Damism is someone who's ended last season well, but hasn't been that great this year. Potential third round opponent. Maybe Borna Koric is a third round opponent as well. Maybe slightly more difficult, but definitely matches he should win.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, and you're looking at potential fourth rounder. It's either you're gonna likely think it's either Dolgopolov or Isner or Schwartzman is one of the guys to see, and maybe if it gets to Isner, the big serve might trouble him on the faster surface, but I think Nadal should get into the second week, and he once he gets in the second week, he usually gets rolling.
Yeah, I mean, I think potentially Isner's been more of a test, but as you know, Isner hasn't. I don't think he's done particularly well the Australian Open before. Certainly susceptible. Could face Dolgopolov in the second round, which is a tough match. Dolgopolov has not played badly in his opening couple of tournaments, so but I think Rafa has got. So I wouldn't say it's the easiest draw, but it's a fairly nice draw. I can't see any real problems in terms of making the quarterfinals.
Yeah, agree with you there. I think he'll likely. I think my personal pick would be Dolgopolov to make the fourth round to face Rafa. All right, we move on to section two. Top seeds here are Marin Cilic and Pablo Carreño Busta. Both players who aren't in the best form right now, and I think one of the players to watch out for is one of your picks from this week is Gilles Muller. Nice opening round, an all lefty showdown against Federico Del Bonis, and I think this could be a good chance for him to make a good run.
Yeah, I do think he'll have a good run. I mean, like I said, I think Kenya Buster has kind of really struggled since his US Open run. He has this Aussie wildcard, Jason Kubler, in his first round, should be winnable. But then, you know, maybe Jill Simon in the second round. Obviously, Jill Simon back in good form, won in Pune. So that's maybe tricky. Then maybe Jules Muller after that. Obviously, Muller's big serve is going to be dangerous on any surface. Obviously, lost today in Sydney, but can't really. But surely still going to be dangerous. But yeah, interesting section. Looking further down, Marin Cilic, Jensen Liu in the first round should be winnable, but maybe João Sousa could be troublesome. And then maybe Ryan Harrison or Mikhail Yuzhny in the third round, which could be interesting.
You think Ryan Harrison is the most interesting pick because should he most probably play Pablo Cuevas or Mikhail Yuzhny, I think those are winnable matches and could see himself into a third round against Cilic. And Cilic on his day, he is obviously a Grand Slam potential champion, but when he's off, he can be pretty off.
Exactly, he is certainly beat. I mean, we saw him lose to Diego Schwartzman at the US Open last year, and that's a match Cilic is extremely comfortable winning. He's about foot taller than Schwartzman, has much bigger weapons than the Argentine. So actually could be winning easily, but he was not his best and he fell in 4 sets. So he is susceptible, probably the most susceptible of the top 8 seeds because you never know what he's going to get. And anyone in that section, I have Ryan Harrison there facing him in the third round is capable of beating him, I'd say.
Yeah. So I think this could. We were talking about this a couple pods ago that Harrison kind of and a lot of other players kind of like blooming in their singles career towards the latter stages, and this could be it for Harrison. This is a decent draw for him to make that run.
Yeah, I mean, considering he's unseeded, and obviously being unseeded leaves you dangerous. He's got Dudi Selo in the first round, who's obviously unseeded. Then his seed in the second round would be Pablo Cuevas, who's the 31st seed and who's not that good on hard courts a lot of the time. So the draw has been nice for him, and obviously having a top 8 seed after that is not ideal. But if you're going to choose a top 8 seed, you probably would choose Cilic because he can be incredibly erratic. So it's a nice draw for him, obviously, with Pablo Coelho Bustos, we mentioned also here, also not his best. There's potential for someone to make a run, and it could be him.
Yep. So we move on to section 3 now, and a lot of qualifiers in this section. There's 5 different qualifiers, and then the winner of this one of the qualifying matches will most likely face Grigor Dimitrov. But then other notable matches, you have Ferrer Rublev. That's going to be a very exciting first rounder. Viktor Troicki, Alex Bolt, and then a young gun showdown with Stefanos Tsitsipas and Denis Shapovalov in the first round as well.
Yeah, that Tsitsipas Shapovalov is a really interesting match. It's one that caught my eye. Looking at the draw, 2 very young, very talented players. Probably Tsonga in the second round for the winner of that, which is an opportunity. Obviously, Shapovalov beat Tsonga in the second round at US Open. You know, Tsonga didn't necessarily play well at the big events last year. There's a real chance for the winner of that. Yeah, I mean, Dimitrov has a good start. I mean, qualifying the first round and then be a qualifier after that. Then after that, potentially Rublev, who beat him at the US Open, obviously. Obviously, Nick Kyrgios is in here as well. Nick Kyrgios is a big factor, very impressive in Brisbane. So, yeah, I think this is another slightly open section. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. There could be another run here. But I think, Dimitrov, with a bit of a Kyrgios, it'll probably be one of them 3 that comes through.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, I think it'll be huge if Kyrgios can make a huge run here. It's been a while since we've seen an Australian male have such a big run. I mean, Kyrgios did make the quarters a couple of years ago, but he having a run maybe to the semis, maybe even a final. I mean, the quarters will still be good, but with the backing of the Aussie crowd would be massive for the Australian Open.
Yeah, I mean, the tournament can only thrive if an Aussie, whether it's in the men's or the women's draw, goes on a deep run. You know, so Kyrgios is incredibly high profile, probably the most high profile Australian player, certainly in the men's singles at the moment. So if he was able to go on a run and galvanise the crowd, it'd be incredibly interesting and would make the tournament more interesting for everyone to watch.
Yeah. Just depends which Kyrgios shows up. That's the only thing. But I think it'll be the good Kyrgios. So we're on to section 4, and man, some very, very good first rounders here. We have Kevin Anderson and Kyle Edmund. So unfortunate for Oliver's compatriot, Kyle Edmund, getting drawn with tough one, Kevin Anderson, and then Yuichi Sugita and Jack Sock in the bottom half of that section 4. And Jack Sock hasn't necessarily done well in the Australian Open in his career. I know top 8 player now, but Sugita is going to be very tricky for Sock. Or Sock's going to be very, yeah.
Yeah, I think, Sugita had a quietly impressive year, rose up the rankings. I believe he made the top 40.
Yeah, and last year was his first season to finish the season inside the top 100.
So yeah, it's incredibly impressive. So not an easy match for Sock at all. He's obviously, like you said, I played in Australia in the past. Didn't do particularly well in Auckland this week, if I'm correct. I think he lost early. Yeah, so saying that, if he gets past him now, he should be able to beat Karlovic in the second round, and probably most likely Kohlschreiber or Seppi in the third round. But it's not a nice first round at all. And you can kind of say the same for Kevin Anderson, because Cohen won't be easy, but you'd have to back Anderson. Come back this year after slightly disappointing end to 2017. They didn't really do much after the US Open final. And then, obviously won the exhibition in Abu Dhabi, final in Pune. So he's in with a shout of a good run as well, you'd have to say.
Yeah, those are definitely 2 of the matches I'm keeping my eye out on for. I mean, I believe Edmund did withdraw from Auckland this week. I mean, he did have the horrible ankle roll versus Dimitrov in Brisbane, but I think the ankle should be fine for the Australian Open, don't you think?
Yeah, he was able to get up and finish that match. Obviously, he did lose, but it was against Dimitrov, so it's no disgrace in that. But it looked as if it was just a minor, fall in the end of the day, that it just was a bit painful at the time. I'm sure it's just a precaution. I'm confident he'll be able to play.
All right. So we move on to the bottom half, section 5, and you're talking about having a very good opening round match for Dominic Thiem. Couldn't get anyone better than Guido Pella, and then we move down section 5, and Filip Krajinovic, he was actually seeded 33, and with Stan Wawrinka, who said he was considering withdrawing because he withdrew from tiebreak 10s. If Stan Wawrinka withdrew, he would have moved into the 32nd seed slot and would have avoided seeded players until the third round. But Krajinovic draws Adrian Manarino in the first round, and then, ironically, Wawrinka is in this section as the 9th seed. Good opening round match against Ricardas Berankis, and then, Wawrinka, if healthy, should see himself to the 4th round.
Yeah, I think the big concern is whether he's fit or not. Obviously, we know he withdrew from tiebreak 10s. It was the knee injury that he struggled with which ruled him out at the end of the season. He didn't play after Wimbledon. It was a shoulder problem. But it's not ideal. I mean, there's a lot of tricky matches. I mean, an interesting match for me, I dare say for you as well, is Roberto Bautista taking on Fernando Verdasco.
Oh, yeah, that definitely caught my eye.
Obviously, Verdasco's played very well at the Australian Open in the past. Semi-finalist quite a long time ago now. Beat Rafa Nadal in the first round, I think, 2016. So he's obviously a dangerous opponent. Could potentially face Wawrinka in the third round, whether it's him or Bautista who wins that match. So yeah, that's interesting. And Thiem, I mean, I don't think Guido Pella is necessarily a massively easy first round. And, potentially Steve Johnson after that, I don't think that's particularly easy, but they're both matches he should be winning. So I think potentially he should really make the 4th round, maybe a quarterfinal for the first time. But this is another fairly open section.
Yeah, again, that's the theme of this men's draw so far. A lot of open sections, and I'm feeling that. I wouldn't say the next one is quite open, section 6, but I feel like if We're still not sure about Novak Djokovic, who's one of the seeds, and then we also know Sasha Zverev hasn't made it that far in Grand Slam play yet. So I feel like this is fairly open, but those two are the names that we're watching out for.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you have a look, Djokovic hasn't got an easy first match against Donald Young. It's a match he should win, but it's a match that's going to be interesting to gauge his level of play.
Monfils right after that, potentially.
Yeah, potentially Monfils. That'd be a big, interesting match. It's another match he should win. But it's another, but obviously Monfils difficult. Had a great week in Doha. Obviously won the title there. You know. After that, in terms of the third round, I can't. If Djokovic makes it there, you know, the seed is Albo Ramos Vinolas, 21st seed. Hasn't been in great form late. I can't see anyone in that bit potentially troubling him. But if you look down to Zverev has a good, I think, opening couple of rounds. You know, Thomas Fabiano, then either Mikhail Kukushkin or Peter Golovic.
Gwaychek. It's Gwaychek.
Oh, yeah, okay, him. But after that, you know, it's quite interesting. He could face projected to face his brother, Misha Zverev. Could be interesting. But he has a really tricky start against Hyun Chung, who's a lot of talent next gen finals champion. And then, you know, Thanasi Kokkinakis is also in there as well, potential third round opponents for Sasha. And obviously Kokkinakis won their meeting at the Hopman Cup. So yeah, it's they're the two big names, but neither of them have got a massively easy draw, I'd say. So it's going to be interesting to see how they both fare.
Yeah, I think Misha Zverev hasn't been in the best form so far. Two warm-ups, two pretty early exits. So Chung, or maybe even guys like Kokkinakis or Medvedev will definitely be on the radar to take out Misha Zverev, who's defending. I believe it's quarterfinalist points.
Yeah, because he beat Andy Murray in the fourth round last year.
Yeah, so defending quarterfinalist points. So it's gonna be a huge hit to his ranking after if he goes down early. But I feel like you said, Sasha Zverev, very good draw. I think he should be making the fourth round here.
I think, yeah. I mean, it could. I mean, he's probably going to be facing, I would say, Chung or Kokkinakis in the third round. Neither of that would be easy match. But it is a match he should be winning. Wasn't massively convincing at the Hopman Cup, though, so it wouldn't have surprised me if he did fall to another early exit.
Yeah, that'd be unfortunate for Zverev. But yes, Section 7. This is a very, very interesting section. So Goffin, top seed in this section, will face a qualifier. And then move down. Match I'm keeping my eye on. Oh, two matches I'm keeping my eye on. Tomas Berdych versus Alex de Minaur. Berdych ended 2017 was just awful for him. And de Minaur absolutely flying after both Brisbane and Sydney. Another semifinal in Sydney after a semifinal in Brisbane. And then bottom part of the section is Francis Tiafoe, Juan Martín del Potro. Oh boy, Tiafoe always getting these exciting first rounders.
Yeah, I think Tiafoe del Potro is probably the best round one draw in the entire thing of the men's. That is, it's a huge clash. Obviously, both big hitters. They played a great match last year, and I believe it was Acapulco. So yeah, it's going to be incredibly interesting. Obviously, a lot of people potentially saying Del Potro is a title contender. If he is, it'd be interesting to see if he. I mean, he has to pass that opening round match. It'd be interesting to see how he does that if he is able to win. So yeah, it's interesting. I think, like you, I agree that de Minaur Berdych match is incredibly interesting. My instinct does say Berdych should still win, but I think de Minaur, obviously, you said semi-final in Brisbane last week. Another semi-final in Sydney this week. Not even ranked inside the top 150 at two semi-finals in a row. It's pretty huge. It's going to be interesting to see. But going up to Goffin, obviously Goffin ended the season last year in amazing style. Obviously, two titles, obviously final in London as well. Played well at the Hopman Cup. He's got a nice draw, quite a qualifier. Then either Julian Beneteau or Taro Daniel in the second round matches he should be winning. Maybe Fabio Fognini in the third round, but obviously Fognini struggled on hard courts quite a lot of the time, so maybe not. So it's a good draw for him.
Yeah, I fancy Goffman's chances. Like even against if he gets to, or if both him and Del Potro get to the fourth round, I feel like he knows how to deal with those power players, really force them around the court, neutralize their power. So I feel like that it'll be a nice contrast of styles if they get to the fourth round.
Yeah, true. It'll be incredibly interesting. But I do agree with you. I think Goffin has grown a lot mentally in the past couple of seasons, and he's now more confident and has the belief that he will be able to win that match. And yeah, I think I mean, obviously, Del Potro is incredibly dangerous, which we've seen throughout his career when he's fit. But I think Goffin would be able to neutralize his weapons, and probably he was a quarter finalist last year. I think probably going to be a quarter finalist again this year.
Agree. And then final section, obviously, second seed here, Roger Federer, defending champion, and just like his finalist opponent last year, Rafael Nadal, very good draw.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying it's quite difficult, but I don't think it is that difficult, really. I mean, Aliash Bedene in the opening round, then either Jan-Lennard Strafford, the Korean wildcard, Sunwoo Kwon in the second round. I think they're both matches he should win easily. Probably Richard Gasquet, 29th seed after that, as someone he's been comfortable against in the past. And if you're looking for potential fourth round opponents, probably going to be Milos Raonic or Sam Querrey. Obviously, both big servers, which could cause some trouble. But considering Raonic has not had the greatest 12 months, struggled a lot of injury. Obviously, lost to Diminar in Brisbane last week. Querrey hasn't looked that convincing since his run to the Wimbledon semi-finals. Yeah, I think I can't really see, unless Federer's having a bad day, anyone in this section really testing him.
Yeah, this is one of the non-open sections. It's pretty clear cut that Federer is going to be the guy to make it to the quarterfinals here. I mean, bar like you said, a bad day or someone maybe not even a bad day for Federer. Maybe it's just someone absolutely firing on all cylinders. So it'll just take something like that to take out Federer. All right. So it's picks time. We're going to scroll back up to the top half. And so what is your first quarterfinal, Oliver, for the men?
My first quarterfinal is Rafa Nadal beating Jules Miller.
Ooh, very nice. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go chalk here. Have Nadal defeat Cilic in my first quarterfinal. Your second quarterfinal.
My second quarterfinal sees Nick Kyrgios beat Kevin Anderson.
Ooh, I actually agree with you there. I also have Nick Kyrgios over Kevin Anderson. Your third.
My third quarterfinal sees Novak Djokovic beat Dominic Thiem.
I have Novak Djokovic defeating Stan, which is kind of risky because of Stan's injury. So hopefully Stan's healthy and can play. And then your last quarter.
My last quarterfinal sees Roger Federer beating David Goffin.
Yep, agree with you there. All right, your first semifinal.
My first semi-final has Rafa Nadal beating Nick Kyrgios.
Yes, I also have that in your second semifinal.
The second semi-final has Roger Federer beating Novak Djokovic.
I have Novak Djokovic defeating Roger Federer.
Ooh.
Hey, I picked before the draws came out and before, and when we did our predictions pod, Novak to win. I'm
true.
Gotta stand by it. I mean, you picked Federer to it, so you're like you're there. You're practically there.
Yeah.
And then your final, I believe, should be Federer defeat Nadal.
Yeah, I do have that.
All right, I do have Djokovic beating Nadal in my men's final. All right, let's see. how about some sleeper picks? So like dark horses. Some guy, I think Chills Muller could be one, but in his
So,
draw, it's fairly. He's also seeded. So yeah, so dark horses or sleeper picks would be not non-seeds we expect to make a decent run.
oh, okay. I'm gonna say, just is it just one pick or
We'll go two each.
two each? Okay, well, I'm definitely gonna, as we discussed, I'm gonna go for Ryan Harrison. I think there's a chance for him there. I'm trying to see who else do I have going. I'm gonna chuck in Verdasco as well.
You love yourself a Verdasco pick dating back to last season, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pick for Harrison too because USA. No, I'm kidding, but I think this is his chance for a decent run to win a couple slam matches, and then I'll go for Tanasi. I mean, I'm very very high on Tanasi, Hakanakis, but just injuries have slowed him down. So yeah, very high on Tanasi. So those are my picks. And who would be your two notable early exits? So these guys have to be seeded.
I would say Chilich.
Ooh.
It's probably going to backfire, but we'll see. I would say Chilich, and I think I will plump for Sasha Zverev as well. Sorry, Sasha.
Ooh. Those are very good picks. Oh man, I'm gonna go for Carreño Busta. Yeah, taking the easy way out because I want to win. No, I'm kidding. And then Misha Zverev. So, AKA the guys who are literally the most out of form. I mean, I was very interested to choose Berdych because I'm very high on Team Noor. So, but we shall see how that goes. So now we move on to the women's singles, where top seed is Simona Halep, second seed is Caroline Wozniacki, two ladies who are still looking to win their first career Grand Slam title. So, section one, Simona Halep has big hitting Destiny Ayava. Wow. Australian Open wildcard playoff winner in the opening round, and then Bouchard potentially in round two. So that blockbuster showdown. But what I'm looking for, sorry, what I'm looking for in this section is Ashley Barty versus Arina Sabalenka in that first round.
Yeah, that is a very interesting first round encounter. Obviously, two very young, very talented players. Obviously, Sabalenka had a big breakthrough towards the end of last season, final in Tianjin. Barty just had an incredible season, full stop, coming back to the tour, making the top 20. And, in the semi-finals this week in Sydney. So going very well there. But yeah, I think Halep hasn't gotten massively easy draw, but I think it's a draw she should be fine with. It's not that difficult. Can see her beating Destiny Oliver and Bouchard quite comfortably. I think the third round potentially in Petra Kvitova, 27th seed, could be bit, as we all know, Petra can beat anyone when she's on. It's just a question of when she's on or not, and whether Halep can nullify that threat. So yeah, I think this is a fairly interesting section. We've got Camilla Giorgi in here as well. See going well in Sydney in the semi-final. Played Angelique Kerber tomorrow. Demolished Vedranska today. And Naomi Osaka as well, who's always one to look out for. Never quite sure what to expect with her, but she's certainly dangerous.
Yeah, I think you mentioned Osaka. I think she'll be. I think she should go a couple of rounds here. I mean, Kuchkova is not the easiest using a protected ranking, so obviously having to deal with some things last year. But if she gets by that, Vesnina, she's still a bit iffy on the form. Looked good at times last week, but obviously after her title in Indian Wells dropped off pretty massively, but I think I'd be fancying Halep Barty in the fourth round here.
I'm thinking similar things as well. Yeah, I mean, I think I would be surprised if Halep doesn't make the second week. Obviously, we did talk about that Kvitova matchup, but it's a matchup she should be winning on like current form, and Barty's rolling well. Not an easy draw at all. Starts as Sabalenka, probably George, even either Vesnina or Osaka after that, but should have the confidence and the ability to win those matches as well. So I'm thinking along similar lines.
I mean, for Halep, back-to-back first-round losses here in Australia the last 2 years, so nothing to go but up. And really, after she wins her. I mean, just playing in her first round, she's already defending her points. One win, it's everything to gain for Halep. Well, everyone has everything to lose.
Exactly. I mean, if you have a look, I think the top 7, so all the way down to Yelena Ostapenko, all capable of ending the tournament as a world number 1, depending on results. And Halep is a current world number 1. Having no points to defend is undoubtedly an advantage in terms of maintaining that ranking. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how much progress she can make through the draw.
And so we move on to section 2, where Jo Konta, Oliver's countrywoman, headlines as one of the seeds with Karolina Pliskova, the 6th seed. So, 2 very, very talented players, 2 top 10 players in one section to compete for one quarterfinal spot. It's kind of pretty rough on each of them. What do you think?
It is pretty rough. It's the toughest, 4th round draw. 6th seed versus 9th seed. Yeah, I don't think either Konta or Pliskova have been at their best of the past couple of months, especially Konta, as he struggled a lot after her run at Wimbledon. Pliskova obviously reached the semi-final in Brisbane, but it's kind of dropped off a little bit, I'd say. So I mean, both of them have okay draws. I mean, Pliskova against Veronika Sepedov-Void, that's a winnable first round match for sure. Konta does face Madison Brengel, who's obviously
She could be tricky.
Yeah, beat Serena Williams in Auckland last year. Has made the 4th round here, I think, once before as well. Just beaten Petra Kvitova a couple of times.
She's had Petra's number, so yeah.
Yeah, so it's not easy. I mean, but looking ahead, once that, I mean, Pliskova, potentially Beatrice Hadamaya in the second round, not an easy match, but one she should win. But it's the 3rd round matches for both. Konta projected to face Barbara Strichkova, another Czech like Pliskova, and also another Czech, Lucy Safarova, the 29th seeded into Pliskova's 3rd round opponent. So there's a pretty tricky section to draw. I mean, Sorana stays floating in there as well. She's always dangerous, had a pretty solid 2017. There's not a massively easy section, but I would think personally that we would have a Konta Pliskova match in the 4th round.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, we both have Pliskova winning beforehand, and I think draw's not too bad for her. I mean, it'd be a very, very fun quarterfinal to see her versus Halep if they get there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big, obviously, contrast there. Obviously, they're both players that were world number 1 at some stage of last season, both of them looking for their first slam title. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting if that happens.
Section 3, so Garbiñe Muguruza, top seed in this section, obviously withdrew from both Brisbane and I believe she retired in Brisbane. Did she retire in Sydney as well?
She won her match against, I think it was Kiki Bertens, but withdrew almost straight afterwards.
Yeah, so
injury she sustained.
Yeah, so obviously she's the top seed in the section, and still iffy on her health with the injuries from both those tournaments. Obviously Brisbane was just cramps, but like still her health is up in the air. But we talked about this before we got on the pod. Kristina Pliskova, Agnieszka Radwanska, obviously something to watch out for. Obviously, like we've been saying this part of the podcast for the women's draw, contrast in styles, and that's by far the biggest you'll see. Obviously, the big server versus the finesse and consistent game of Radwanska, who looks like she's found a bit of form after a tough 2017. And then Angelique Kerber, she, another name, uh, Oliver said projects her in and around the top 10. And then she looking like she's finding her form again. And then obviously Maria Sharapova in this section with Anastasia Sevastova. So very, very wide open.
Yeah, this is one of the most interesting sections of the draw. I mean, obviously, there are some doubts about Muguruza coming in. I think if you have a look, she's got the French wild card, Jessica Ponche, in the first round, potentially Siré Hichet after that. That's a nice start to the draw. She should be able to get the third round if she's fit. Could face Radwanska there, but Radwanska still a little bit of doubt. Lost fairly tamely to Camilla Giorgi today. Big hitter against Pliskova, like you said, in the first round, and maybe Lesia Sarenko or Natalia Vikline-Saver after that. More big hitters. So she could have some trouble there. So I think if Muguruza's fit, she should be fine. But it's the second half of this bit that is the most interesting, like you said. I mean, you would have backed Sharapova in a different section to go far, but against Sevastova, who she had two incredibly tight matches against last year. Won one, lost one. Lost at the US Open fourth round. It's going to be interesting to see who comes about, but obviously Kerber is looking very good. Didn't lose in the Hopman Cup in the semi-finals of Sydney this week, and she could face potentially either Sharapova or Sevastova in the third round. So that's a brutal part of the draw.
Oh, yeah, that is. Brutal's putting it nicely, and then potentially Donna Vekic for Kerber if they both win. So not those second round matches are going to be very, very intriguing to see if Kerber, Vekic, Sharapova, Sevastova all hold to victories.
Yeah, basically it's going to be extremely interesting. Obviously, Vekic had a good 2017 season, kind of resurgence. He won the title in Nottingham. So yeah, I think I would back Kerber if that match happens, but it's a potential upset there. Vekic is playing well and feeling confident.
Yes. So, section 4, the last of the top half for the women, and man, it is. Oh no, it's a bit confusing to try and pick out of this section. So obviously, Kristina Mladenovic, who's an absolutely horrid run of form, obviously retired in Sydney due to heat illness because it was just an absolutely brutal day out there. Don't know why they were playing. But anyways, different story for a different time. She's the 11th seed here. Madison Keys in here as well. Lucic Brony, semifinalist last year. And then Caroline Garcia. So yeah, Mladenovic, who's out of form. Keys, who's like that as well. Garcia is hurt. Lucic Brody is, though she made the semifinals, a bit Who's gonna escape?
It's a tough one to call. I mean, there's a lot has been said about Mladenovic's run of form. I think it's 14 losses.
It is.
Have a look at her first round match, Anna Bogdan. I think she should end the losing streak there. And second round match, if she does that, it'd be Julia Puntaseva or Heather Watson. Another match she probably should be winning, but it's hard to go. I mean, Lucic Baroni, can she find some inspiration? Obviously, semi-finalist last year, went on an incredible run, hasn't done much since. Brisbane finalist Alexandra Sasnovich is here. I think she's one to look out for. And also Marketa Vondrousova, who could face Caroline Garcia in the second round. But I think Garcia is the big factor. Obviously, she's the big seed in this section. And, she did retire in Brisbane, but if she's able to play like she did towards the end of last year, she is a potential title contender. So I think the ball is in her court, as it were. if she's fit, but she would need to play well because there's going to be a couple of tricky matches on the way.
I mean, yeah, you're talking about if she wins, probably Marketa Vondrousova in the second round, or then if she gets the third round, then obviously have Sasnovich, Brisbane finalist, Lucic Baroni, semifinalist last year, Shelby Rogers. She's when she's on, she is on. So obviously, it's not going to be easy for Garcia. And like you said, I think Mladenovic will end the losing streak. I think Key should end her run of form versus Kiang Wang as well. So kind of tough to call here. But I feel I still do think if one of the seeds should get out, but if a non-seeded player gets out, it's going to be from this section.
Yeah, I mean, I think it will probably be. I mean, all the seeds in this section are, I would say, a bit susceptible. Garcia less so, but I think Baroni, Keys, who I do agree should also snap a losing streak, and Mladenovic will. There's opportunities for him to be beaten for sure.
So bottom half, section 5. All I see is Venus Williams versus Belinda Bencic. Yes, there's other matches, but that is the blockbuster first round match for sure.
Yeah, it's an incredibly horrible draw for both of them. You know, obviously Bencic is resurgent on the ITF tour last year, impressive in Hopman Cup last week. And, you know, for her to come up against a woman who made the final last year, and also made the Wimbledon final and the WTA finals final as well. It's just bad. It's the highlight of the women's draw. It's probably the highlight of all the draws combined.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a really tricky section. I mean, obviously Venus Williams is the highest seed, but obviously Bencic to begin with. Projected to face a Katerina Makava in the third round. Makava's former semi-finalist, made the second week in the past 2 tournaments as well in Melbourne. So yeah, it's tricky. And if you look further down, I mean, Yulia Gurgis, obviously 3 tournaments in a row she's won. And she has a decent draw up until the third round where she could face Daria Gavrilova or maybe Elise Mertens. So yeah, this is a really tricky section.
I mean, Williams Bencic, like, you even mentioned how it's tough draw for Venus. So someone young, resurgent, very good ground strokes. So it's gonna be that has to be on Laver. Oh boy.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, that's going to be surely night session. Yeah, on Laver.
Yeah, there'd be riots if it's not at least on Laver. But how people choose who's on what court is a different story for different. There's always riots with these, but yeah, I mean, Makarova always a danger here. Former semifinalist, like you said, it was only 3 years ago in 2015. Former semifinalist, Dasha Gavrilova, obviously going to get that home support. Elise Mertens looking very good this week in Hobart, and then obviously Gurgis, who's absolutely flying, 3 straight WTA titles. So this is going to be a very, very fun section to watch for.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many potential people you could make a case for making it out. I mean, if you have a look down the bottom, you've got Elise Mertens, who's had a couple of nasty draws at slams. Venus Williams in the first round at Wimbledon last year, Madison Keys in the first round at the US Open. Has a qualifier this time, which is obviously a good draw. Then, you know, potentially Gavrilova in the second round. Gavrilova's made the second week the past 2 years, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, obviously could face Mertens in the second round, and then could face Gurgis in the third round. And Gurgis is probably the form player on tour. But then, you know, could face the likes of Mertens or Gavrilova, could face Venus Williams, could face Belinda Bencic, or could face Makarova. So yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens here.
Yes, tennis. Love tennis. These are the draws I live for. Section 5 of the women's draw. That's what I live for. Absolutely. All right, section 6. So headlined by fourth seed Alina Svitolina, one of the title favorites here. And then look up if the top part of the section, it's Sloane Stevens. She's looking to end her run, but Zhang Shui in her first round match. That is going to be tough for Sloane.
Yeah, that's not a nice draw at all. Obviously, Stevens he hasn't been in good form since he won the US Open. And to get into good form, you kind of need to match against someone who's going to give you rhythm. It's going to let you able to play your own game. And Zhang Shui is not that player. She looks to attack, as you've seen. She nearly beat Pliskova at the US Open last year, had a match point. She's one of the people who's beat Simona Halep in the first round, I think back in 2016. She was a qualifier, went on to reach the quarterfinals.
Yeah, she said she was going to retire if she didn't win that match.
Yeah, so yeah, it is a nasty, nasty first round draw. Not nice at all.
I mean, yeah, this not the best for Sloane Stevens. I mean, they're talking about ESPN before. They're asking Chrissy Everett about her, and I mean, Everett's right. I mean, a lot of these first-time Slam champions, they go in a bit of a rut after they win their first one. Like Kerber, she won after she won the Australian. She, struggled a bit, lost in the first round of the French, but then captured that form again to make the Wimbledon final, then won the US Open. Muguruza, she said after she won the French, it was just like, she said her season was like two different seasons. She said everything to the French and then everything after the French, where she just struggled to do everything. Petra, so a lot of players struggle after winning that first slam. I think Sloane's hitting that wall. And I think, yeah, you said Zhang Shui is not going to be the easiest first round match. But if Sloane gets by, I think she should see herself to the fourth round, though.
I think maybe. I mean, she has to get past that round first.
Yeah, it's a big if, but I think the draw is kind enough to her that she should get to that second week.
I mean, Daria Kasatkina, 22nd seed, is here. I think she'll be dangerous. Fourth round at the US Open last year. So was made the third round a couple of times here before. So is capable of playing some solid tennis. I think she's very tricky. She's someone who could do with taking another step forward in her career this season. Kind of been hovering around that 2030 mark for a while. Could do with a big run. So I think she's going to be tricky for anyone to face. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if those two face off, Stevens and Kasatkina, potentially a third round match. So yeah.
So what do you make of Svitolina's draw? I think it's pretty kind. I mean, Siniakova was a finalist in Shenzhen. Sakari could be tricky, but I think this is the draw Svitolina would have really wanted if she got to choose.
Yeah, I mean, she starts against a qualifier, which is obviously very good for her. Her and Siniakova did face off in the first round of US Open last year. I think it was the first round anyway, and Siniakova did take a set, so I don't think that's going to be an easy match. But Svitolina should certainly win it. If you look at her third round, could be an Australian wild card as two of them face off, Jamie Foley and Olivia Rogowska. It's probably going to be 25th seed Peng Shui. She should be coming out of those matches into the second week safely.
Yeah, and then once Svitolina gets to those bigger matches against those top ranked players, we know her game elevates just a bit more. So if she gets there, she's definitely gonna hold on to that name as title favorite. Okay, section 7 has Yelena Ostapenko, French Open champion. She is the top seed of this section. And then we have at the bottom part of the section, Coco Vandeweghe, defending semifinalist here last year, but tricky first rounder against Timea Babos.
Yeah, Vandeweghe, she's obviously naturally confident, so she'll come in with a lot of belief in herself, but it's not a very easy draw for her. Obviously, Babos in the first round, then potentially Carlos Suarez Navarro in the second round, maybe Dominika Savulkova or someone like Kai Kanepi after that. Those two face off. It's also a match between Sam Stosur and Monica Puig, which is an interesting one. So yeah, this is another like interesting bit because if you look at Ostapenko's draw, she should be beating Schiavone. She should make it to the third round, but after that, it's a match between Krunic and Kontaveit, which could be interesting. Both of them are capable of challenging her, especially if she's off. Monica Niculescu's here as well. So it's another tricky section for the seeds, and in general, it could be an opening for another unseeded play here potentially.
I mean, Kanepi is definitely one to watch out for. Obviously, she had that huge run at the U.S. Open, allowed her to get back inside the top 100, so it won't have to use the protected ranking, qualify, things like that. And she's definitely one of those floaters here that we're watching out for.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, she's reached quite a few. She's reached quite a few Grand Slam quarterfinals. So Ceci Dangerous, obviously, Sabulkova has picked up a couple of wins in Sydney this week, but obviously had a disappointing 2017. You know, it's probably going to be an opportunity for Kanepi there for an upset after that, Stosur or Puig. You know, neither of them. Obviously, Stosur had a 2017 affected by injury. Puig has really failed to build on her Olympic triumph. So yeah, there's certainly an opportunity for someone. It could be Kanepi, played well at the slams before. Won in Brisbane a few years ago, played fairly well in Brisbane last week, really pushed Karolina Pliskova. So yeah, potential opening for her. But if Ostapenko and Van der Aar play well, you would fancy their chances of having a fourth round clash.
Oh man, that'd be the fourth round clash of dreams. Fire versus fire. Oh boy, that'd be something else. If a tennis ball had emotions on that day, it wouldn't want to be a tennis ball anymore, just because like it's just gonna get the living bejesus smacked out of it.
Yeah, true.
All right, final section, section 8. And I think this section it'll be a little more straightforward for the seeds. Kiki Burton's tricky first round with CC Bellis, but Wozniacki, second seed, Mihaela Buzarnescu, Rybarikova, Taylor Townsend, and then Pavlyuchenkova, Katerina Kozlova. So I think the seeds should be holding here. You think so?
I think mostly. I think obviously Wozniacki actually faced Buzarnescu in the US Open first round as well. And these are the first two Grand Slams that Buzarnescu's played, so that's pretty brutal. But I think it's a good draw for Wozniacki. She should be beating Buzarnescu, should be beating either Jana Fetomita or Gucci in the second round. I think Bellis beat Bertens at the French Open last year. I think she has a chance of beating Bertens again, but either of them two.
It's a tight call in that match.
Yeah. You have to fancy Wozniacki chances against him if Wozniacki is playing as well as she did last season.
I mean, she looked good in Auckland too. I mean, Kyrgios just looked a lot better in that final, just taking like everything Wozniacki threw at her, just crushing it. But I think Wozniacki brings in that late form from 2017 into 2018. I think you're right. Wozniacki should breeze by.
Yeah, she has. If she has, I mean, if you look at them, some of them have the top 8 seeds have difficult draws. Some of them have draws which are debatable. They're difficult, easy. Wozniacki has a good draw. There can be no doubt about that. And if she does fall early on, it would be a big upset, and they'll probably be looking at how she lost because it would be a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
But fourth round potentially against Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova, who was a quarterfinalist last year, did beat Pavlyuchenkova in the Tokyo final in 2017. But you never know really what to expect of Pavlyuchenkova. She doesn't have a massively easy draw. Starts against Kozlova, who's a troublesome opponent. You know, Magdalena Rybarikova, protected third round. Likes of Alison Risk in there as well. So that's not an easy bit for her.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it might not be easy. I still think seeds will be fine for the most part. Bellis is, I think Burton's is the only seeded player I'm in that opening round match kind of concerned about for a potential upset. But all right, what you all been waiting for, our picks. All right, first quarterfinal, Oliver.
I'm gonna go for Halep beating Pliskova.
Going
Going
against your pick. Absolutely. Very, very. What's wrong with you? No, I'm kidding. No, I mean, still like Pliskova's chances, even though she'll face Halep. But yes, I'm gonna go Pliskova over Halep. So opposite of you. The second quarterfinal.
I have Angelique Kerber beating Caroline Garcia.
Yeah, I will have Maria Sharapova defeating Madison Keys.
Completely different.
Yes, go a bit different. Yeah. All right. Here we go. What we bottom half, your third quarterfinal.
I have Elina Svitolina beating Julia Gerges.
There you go. Back to agreeing. And then your last quarterfinal.
I have Caroline Wozniacki defeating Coco Vandeweghe.
Oh, so do I. So, yes, I did say Coco would fall back into the 20s or 30s, but I feel these fast courts suit her very, very well. All right, your semifinal pick, please, for the top half.
I have Simona Halep beating Angelique Kerber.
I have Karolina Pliskova defeating Maria Sharapova. And your bottom half, please.
I have Elina Svitolina beating Caroline Wozniacki.
I have that as well. And your final.
I have Svitolina defeating Halep.
I have Pliskova over Svitolina. Oh, boy. That'd be a great final. And those would be great finals anyway. Either way.
Yeah, true.
All right. Your sleeper picks to make a decent run here.
Has to be unseeded, you said, didn't they?
Yeah, or unseeded preferably.
Okay.
Okay. See, I can't pick Sharapova because we know cheats form rules. That's cheating, so I can't do that.
So I'm gonna go for. I'm gonna see what Kai Kanepi can do. So I'll go for Kai Kanepi. And who else is potentially? I'll go for Sasnovich as well.
Okay, I was about to say, it's like, okay, he took Kanepi. I want to say something else. So, I'll go for Elise Mertens and Heather Watson.
An interesting one.
I mean, Watson's looked good this week in Hobart. Feels she could carry that through, especially if she plays Mladenovic, even though I think Mladenovic will end that run. I think Watson's in a good run of form.
Yeah, I don't think she's particularly played well at the Australian Open in the past. But yeah, if she's looking going well in Hobart, so yeah, potentially she can carry that confidence through. Though one time she won Hobart the whole tournament, and she lost in the first round of Australia. So it'll be interesting to see. But that's your pick. You can go for it.
Dude, it's like it's your pick. I know Watson. She lives in my country, so not kidding. All right, and your two early exits, please.
I think I'm gonna have to go for Sloane Stephens.
And
it's tough. Sloane Stephens and Venus Williams, because I think Bencic will win that match.
Oh, okay, you took Venus for me. This is why I want to go first. No, I'm kidding. I will go for Sevastova because I think it'll be Sharapova. And then we'll go Mladenovic as well because I'm picking Heather Watson. All right, guys. So those nice little draw breakdown and picks for the Australian Open 2018. So, Oliver, where can we find you on social media?
At Oliver DJ 1998.
You could find me at Not First Noel. You could find the podcast Twitter at On the Line Pod. Oliver and I will be doing a lot of writing for Vavel USA and a lot of previews and such. So and match recaps. So keep an eye out for those. Pod will be up very shortly. We hope you guys enjoy the Australian Open, and we'll be back for a first round review or a quick review of what happened this week. So we'll see you all very, very soon.